Here's our trip to the California Science Center! Let's first start off with life beginnings. This is our first interactive Build a Bird, and the objective of this is to mix and match the genes of the parent pigeons to create a unique baby.
Successfully completed the challenge!
This is our second interactive, which depicts sperm competition, in which sperm, quote-unquote, race to fertilize the egg to form a zygote. So in this interactive, Shriya and Darya are performing mating rituals to attract their bird lover, or what you may also know as a mate.
So in this, Darya and Alyssa, they're playing a simulation where they're going through different stages of pregnancy and shows how many trimesters there are. You can see the moth growing and changing, similar to human puberty in our life.
It's our last interaction.
Okay, so these things don't necessarily become an adult because of disease, starvation, different things. So what leads them to become an adult is if they survive those things.
Enter ecosystems.
So this exhibit shows different ecosystems on Earth. Right now it's showing like the auroras, and before it was showing polar bears on the poles.
Now entering LA zone. Both Darya and Shriya are observing nature and construction from what you may know as a telescope.
In this cool activity, Alyssa and Shriya are using renewable solar and wind energy to reduce pollution by lessening smog, essentially. So these are the different things that cause smog to be created, like traffic.
Now we are in island zone.
This is a leaf plate coral, and it grows in like flat tips that sometimes like curl up and ruffle along the edges into like layers.
Okay, so this simulation replicates one of the various ways life gets on land, and that is by wind carrying seeds along the island dirt.
Alyssa's doing the interactive that illustrates how hard life is on the shore. You need some big muscles for this one.
Now we are in the Arctic zone, and this is an ice plate wall which acts as insulation to the ocean. And from what you can see, the fingerprints towards the right are more deep, which means it is less suitable for insulation as it is thinner in thickness. Now moving on into desert regions. So this is a heat lamp which detects body heat, and from what you can see, the warmer tones represent warmer regions in the body, while the cooler tones represent colder.
So in this interactive, Alyssa and Shriya are learning about different animals on the desert ecosystem. So in this book, for example, there's different animals and descriptions. For example, there's the saguaro, frisbees, and moths who live on cactuses. So cool.
As you can see here, it represents the desert, and it's also, in terms of temperature, it's like really hot.
Yeah, compared to the other room, like the pole room, which is pretty cold, this is really hot. Fennec foxes! So cool!
They're so cute!
Wait, that's so cute! Oh my god!
We stayed here for about 10 minutes just looking at the foxes. Now entering my personal favorite, the aquatic regions. We are inside the kelp room, which shows a bunch of different fish and eels and different sea life. The simulation represents rising sea levels and how Jurassic they may be.
There are some fish here.
There's an eel!
There's an eel! This is the river room, and it's depicting different fish in the river, like flowing with currents.
So in this, they use technology to magnify the use for animals.
So this is the global room. This is the amount of water in the ocean. Discovering how climate change has affected different parts of the earth. This is the ocean and how climate change has affected it. The rot room, it depicts what happens to different animals when they decompose and like when they die.
And it also smells because it's like decomposed.
Yeah, it also smells really bad.
See, the fungus uses enzymes to break down organic molecules to turn into what we know as compost.
This is the Endeavor, one of America's biggest pride points. So this is Alyssa and Shriya, and we are figuring out what the Endeavor's history is. So essentially there was another rocket that went to the moon but didn't make it back. But the Endeavor was the first one in American history that actually came back, which is super cool.
So it took like 68 hours to come back.
Yeah, to bring the Endeavor to California Science Center.
Yeah,
which is super cool.
For our final stop, fire safety. Just went through the fire safety exhibition, and this is what we learned.
So during like wildfires, It originally started from lightning, but after a while, people started creating their own fires, which is why we have them.
Yeah, and the land is more prone to fire because of its dry and arid environment. A lot of sticks that are easily flammable and dry leaves, etc.
I learned about a lot of household items that contain that are likely to catch on fire due to a large amount of watts. For example, there's like hair dryers. Like I didn't know they could catch. They're very flammable, but they are apparently, which is very cool. So good notice.
And what I learned, more on the safety aspect, there are certain precautions you can take within your household to prevent fires, such as not leaving a book next to a candle because that's easily flammable, turning off your iron right after you iron, and just things like that, keeping cloths away from flames.
Yeah, that's what we learned.
Thank you for watching.